Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever stopped to ask yourself, why do I feel like my emotions run my life instead of me? You wake up with a plan, a purpose, a drive to move forward, and then something small happens. Someone says the wrong thing, something doesn't go your way, and suddenly you're thrown off track. Your entire energy shifts. That spark you had is gone. And you wonder how something so minor had the power to ruin your entire day. The truth is, it's not the thing that shook you. It's the lack of control you have over what's happening inside you. You're not weak. You're not broken. You're just emotionally overwhelmed. And no one ever taught you how to manage that storm. But you're not stuck. You can take your power back. Emotions are part of life. They make you human. They give you color, passion, depth. But when emotions go unchecked, they can also become the prison walls that trap your potential. When you let anger lead, you burn bridges you were meant to walk across. When you let fear control you, you miss out on opportunities that could have changed your future. When you let sadness take over, you isolate yourself from the people who actually care. Emotions, when unmanaged, are like wild horses, beautiful but dangerous. And until you learn to hold the reins, they will keep dragging you into places you don't belong. But once you do, something shifts. You become untouchable, not because you don't feel, but because you choose what to do with what you feel. You see, controlling your emotions doesn't mean pretending you don't have any. It means understanding them. It means listening to what they're trying to tell you without giving them the final say. Because here's the truth. Emotions are messengers, not masters. They're signals, not commands. You are not your anger. You are not your anxiety. You are not your sadness. You are the one observing it all. And the moment you realize that, you stop reacting to every wave. You start standing on the shore. You start choosing how you respond. That's where your freedom begins. Stay with this message because you're going to learn how to rise above the chaos. You're going to see that peace is not found by avoiding emotion, but by mastering it. You'll discover that the most powerful people aren't the ones who feel the least, but the ones who are no longer ruled by every feeling. This is your moment to begin that journey. Because the version of you who controls their emotions is unstoppable. That version of you gets things done. That version walks in confidence, not confusion. That version of you doesn't react to life. They lead it. And that version is already inside you waiting for you to decide. Watch closely. Listen carefully and don't look away. Because from this point on, everything starts to change. You felt it before. That sudden rush of heat in your chest when something triggers you. That tight knot in your stomach. That flood of thoughts racing through your head, screaming for release. You want to yell, react, shut down, or disappear. You feel cornered by your own emotions. And in that split second, the reaction feels justified. It feels like the only way to get control back. But that's the lie. Reacting is not control. It's surrender. It's handing your power to the very thing that disturbed your peace. Real control isn't loud. It's not explosive. Real control is quiet. It's composed. It's choosing stillness in the face of chaos. That's where your real strength lives. Not in the fire of reaction, but in the furnace of restraint. Every time you respond out of impulse, you train your brain to believe it can't handle pressure without breaking. You wire yourself to explode when life gets hard. And over time, your emotional reactions start to define your identity. You begin to believe that you're just angry, anxious, too emotional. But that's not who you are. That's just a habit your nervous system has repeated so many times it feels like truth. It's not. You were not born to live on edge. You were not created to constantly be pushed and pulled by everything that happens around you. You have the power to break that cycle. You have the authority to rewrite that pattern. But it starts with one decision. I will no longer be a slave to how I feel in the moment. Your emotions are real, but they're not always right. Your anger might not be truth. Your fear might not be fact. Your sadness might not be a sentence. So stop trusting every emotion as if it's law. Instead, start asking better questions. What am I really feeling? What does this emotion want from me? What's the wise response here? Because the more aware you become, the less reactive you become. And with that awareness comes power. Real, grounded, unshakable power. The kind of power that allows you to walk away when provoked. The kind that lets you stay calm when you're being tested. The kind that doesn't scream for attention but commands respect. There is a version of you that doesn't flinch at every challenge. A version of you that can walk through pressure and still think clearly. A version that doesn't explode at small things because they no longer have a hold on you. That version isn't a fantasy. It's a decision. And it's waiting for you to step into it. This is your shift point. This is your awakening. The more control you gain over your emotions, the more freedom you gain over your life. Stop letting temporary emotions make permanent decisions. Your future is too valuable. Your peace is too sacred. Your mission is too big. Control your emotions or they will control you. The choice is yours now. And it starts here. The reason most people never master their emotions is because they confuse strength with reaction. They think the louder they respond, the stronger they appear. But true strength isn't measured by how fast you can lash out. It's measured by how calm you can remain when everything inside you is begging to erupt. Anyone can raise their voice. Anyone can send a bitter message. Anyone can slam the door. That's easy. That's emotional immaturity, pretending to be power. But it takes a different kind of energy to breathe through the tension. To listen when you feel misunderstood. To speak with purpose when everything in you wants to explode. That kind of strength is rare. And that kind of strength changes everything. When you begin to control your emotions, you stop being owned by temporary situations. You no longer give small moments the ability to ruin entire days. You no longer let one rude comment shatter your self-worth. You don't allow stress to dictate how you treat people. You rise above. Not because you're emotionless, but because you've trained yourself to prioritize your future over your feelings. You've decided that peace is more important than being provoked. You've learned that your reaction is your responsibility. No one controls your energy unless you hand it to them. That's not just mindset, that's mastery. Emotional control is a decision you make before the pressure comes. You don't wait until you're in the storm to build the foundation. You prepare in advance. You decide right now that no one else gets to dictate the quality of your inner world. You practice the pause. You develop the habit of breathing, reflecting, reframing. Because that's where growth lives. In those quiet decisions. In those private moments when no one is watching and you choose patience over rage, grace over gossip, stillness over noise. Every time you do, you reinforce your identity as someone who leads, not someone who reacts. Now, this shift transforms more than your emotions. It transforms your outcomes. The person who leads their emotions leads their life. They don't chase chaos. They don't operate from fear. They move with intention. They think before speaking. They process before deciding. And because of that, their relationships get stronger. Their mind gets clearer. Their vision gets sharper. Life doesn't become easier. They just become more powerful. And that power changes how they experience everything. You were not created to be unstable. You were not meant to live constantly on edge, controlled by every wave that crashes into your day. You were created to be solid, steady, deeply rooted. But that stability doesn't come from the outside. It comes from inside you. And the moment you decide to stop being ruled by your emotions, you begin to uncover the version of you that is focused, calm, and unstoppable. That version is not far away. It's already inside you, waiting. And the more you choose discipline over reaction, the more that version takes over. The more your life begins to reflect the power you've had all along. Nothing is more dangerous to your peace than being unaware of your emotional patterns. When you're not paying attention, you start reacting to life instead of responding to it. You start calling dysfunction your personality. You start labeling your reactions as just who you are. But they're not who you are. They're who you became while trying to survive emotions you never learned how to process. And if you don't wake up to that truth, those patterns will keep repeating. Not because you're broken, but because you've built an emotional routine around chaos. And until you break that cycle, it will keep shaping your life in the background, silently controlling your choices, your relationships, your confidence, and your peace. Awareness is everything. You can't control what you won't confront. You have to slow down and start noticing what sets you off, what drains your energy, what thoughts push you into a spiral. You have to study yourself. You are not a victim of your feelings. You are a student of them. When you feel triggered, pause and ask, what part of me is unhealed that this moment is touching? When you feel overwhelmed, ask, what lie am I believing right now that is distorting my vision? This level of awareness is not weakness. It's emotional intelligence. It's how you rise above the noise instead of being consumed by it. The more aware you become, the more peace you protect. Because once you see the patterns, you can choose to stop feeding them. You must be ruthless with anything that steals your emotional clarity. That includes thoughts that sabotage your focus, environments that trigger your insecurity, and habits that leave you emotionally drained. When your emotions lead your day, they lead your decisions. And when your decisions are led by temporary feelings, your future becomes inconsistent. You don't build success with unstable emotions. You don't grow when you're constantly in survival mode. You grow when you're grounded. And that grounding doesn't come from waiting for everything around you to calm down. It comes from learning to calm what's inside you, regardless of what's outside. Mastering your emotions means setting new standards for yourself. It means refusing to tolerate mental habits that used to feel normal. It means no longer giving every negative thought a seat at your table. It means telling yourself the truth. Even when it's uncomfortable, you are not at the mercy of your emotions. You are not powerless against what you feel. You are not destined